This is just a quick tutorial about our second making project for visual thinking this semester, and we're going to be using graphite sticks, which are solid sticks of graphite. So instead of a pencil tip, it's this big stick, soft, and soft in graphite is called 6B. So that's on the materials list. One trick is you need to cut this into smaller pieces because it's sort of a third of a piece that works best. And graphite, the way to cut it is use a knife. Could be a steak knife, or this is an X-Acto knife. I score it, and then I just break it really easily. So if you draw, you know this, but if you haven't drawn that much, we always want to get rid of this rough edge. So I do that by rubbing it. So I'm trying to get where I don't make gestural marks because the process we're going to be doing is called a graphite rubbing. So this is my little stick, and maybe it's not intuitive, but instead of using the short end, we use the long end. And the drawing is going to be done with these 5.5-inch squares of, this is copier paper. Newsprint would be better if you had that, but either one is fine. So the process is called frottage, or graphite rubbing, and it's all about lifting a surface. So this is a piece of plastic I cast, and I'm curious. What we're interested in is tactile felt texture, visceral texture versus virtual. So this has a lot of sort of hairy strands of plastic cast into it. And let's just see what happens when I do frottage, and that this is what the graphite's for. So I do a rubbing, and you'll see an image develop. So this process can take a little honing. Everyone will be able to do it fine, but notice that I'm using a mechanically kind of repetitive stroke, not just going all over the place with crazy gesture. And then I'm taking my time, I'm rubbing with the long edge of the graphite. And I want to get all the way to the edge. So this is, I've been doing this for years, but with a little practice, you can get very nice pieces. I have another one I'll do that's a scrap of old wood. Let me grab that. So we can guess, this wood has been around for years. We can guess that this too has a lot of texture. And I put the piece down and I rub it. So this was developed by an artist named Max Ernst, a very famous surrealist. And we're going to do this project to get us in touch with the textures and surfaces, particularly around the place that we're living right now. And I think in a moment where we can't touch much, this kind of puts us back in touch. Notice that I moved, so I got the entire image. What we want for sure is no margin. We don't want where the gesture in my drawing shows. We don't want to hold back from the edge because it just doesn't look good as a drawing. So the goal is to have an entire surface covered edge to edge as if it was torn after the drawing was made, but let's tear the sheets and then make the drawings. Also, graphite is a lubricant, so you don't want to get it on walls. So if you're lifting a texture from something you don't want to get soiled, put a piece of paper down, a clean piece of paper down between the texture and your rubbing, and then you'll get almost as good a surface resolution, and you won't have to go, it's really on a white wall, this is almost impossible to get out. So that's it. You get your hands a little messy. Graphite is a lubricant, but it's not at all dangerous. It easily rinses off. And that's our second maker project. It's called graphite rubbing or frottage.